Hi guys, it's Kathy, Mrs. Handy, are you again? Today is July 11th, 2021, and Tom from Tom Numbers from Psych Club, his full name is Tom Sidney Bushnell. He asked me a question about POTUS's last rally, which was July 3rd. And I noticed it when I watched it live. He said something odd when he was talking about President Biden, not president. He said, it's somebody, who is it? And you can look at that as, I said it, it's somebody, or you can look at it as it's somebody. Regardless, it's somebody is 146. Who is it is 103. So he seems to be giving hints as to who's playing Biden. Likely a few people. Who is it 103 happens to equal Robert F. Kennedy, JFK's younger brother, Bobby, who was running for the Democratic nomination in 1968 when he was assassinated. But he's here. I've seen him. So it could be him, could be Bobby. Let's see. There's quite a few 146s that match. Who is it? I'll just run through them. One is Final Masquerade, 1818. And for a very long time, I thought 18 was JFK Jr. And sometimes I still think it is JFK Jr. And then again, sometimes I think it's his dad, President Kennedy, who's alive as well. And if you haven't seen that, look at, Tom has videos about that, showing, talking about and proving that his father, JFK, is alive. And I've seen a video, which he referred me to, the PBS version, public broadcast version, is the best one on YouTube. And it's called Flight 93 Memorial. I'm pretty sure it's 2019, that year. And JFK gets up and does a speech. Jackie is sitting down. She's sitting with him, but she's staying sitting down. And the only other real speaker, other than the park ranger maybe, is President Trump. So they're all, President Trump, Melania, Jackie, and JFK are all on the stage together. He speaks as Mr. Ed Root. So you can look for that on the PBS video, and you'll see him, kind of a middle-aged person, pretending to be the coordinator and a relative of a Flight 93 survivor. Or maybe one who died. I don't know, but it's all pretend. So, yeah, Flight 93 never hit the ground in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure you know that. So let's see. So look into Tom's video and look at that one with PBS, and you'll see JFK. So that's where I've got, 1818. RR, it might be JFK. Not just, as the real Aranon, the Aranon who posted about, JFK going down, and nobody took it seriously, and it wasn't a legitimate Q post, but we all started looking for JFK Jr. because of the R post. And of course, R is 18. Coming storm. We're still on 146. Coming storm. And as I said before, sometimes you'll get names on idogeomatrix.org. And the names may not all make sense, the whole name, but it could be that you're supposed to see part of the name that is going along with what you're looking for. So I saw Bobby Brown Jr., and I took it as Bobby Jr. because Bobby Kennedy has a son, and his name's Bobby Jr. So another one that's similar, along that line is Ronald Perry. So Ronald is what stuck out to me. And later on, we'll see a Nancy. So Ron and Nancy. 146, the trumpet, also comes up later. Everything here comes up later, I'm sorry, but we don't want to mess up and duplicate. This is really cool. 146 is Zion, Z-I-O-N, oil and gas. That's a company. It's an Israeli company. I think it's really based out of Houston, but it's an Israeli company. And it's mentioned by Kim Clement, Prophet Kim Clement, who's had all these things right about predicting future things for the economy, what to invest in that God told him to. Supposedly he died in 2015 before POTUS was elected, but for all I know, Kim Clement is still out there. You can find a lot about him on YouTube, find out his prophecies yourself, look into it yourself. I'm not a financial advisor, but a few days before I figured this out, working on 146, Bob and I, my husband, had just bought a bunch of Zion oil and gas because of Kim Clement. And Twisted Christian follows Kim Clement prophecies, and he decodes them and helps you know what to do. So he's a great YouTuber too, Twisted Christian. Then as I was going along through all this, I found lots and lots of Georges. Names with other names. Georges, Roberts, Jacks, Johns. All pertinent names to what we're thinking of. There was even a Kathy, but it was spelled wrong. Mine is with a Y. They had IE, but that's okay. It's close enough. But what really shocked me is finding Diana. Now, Princess Diana, of course, she's here, but it said Diana Kunkel. And everybody goes, well, what the heck with Kunkel? Kunkel is my mother's maiden name. Now, if that's not supposed to be something I saw, nothing is. Right? Kunkel is such an unusual name. I have it up on my dresser here, holding My Kid by the Side of the Road magazine, and it's a copper plate, and it has a K on it for Kunkel. So copper, the reset, silver, gold, copper, palladium. Oh, I thought that was cool. Okay, sorry about the Another one that's 146 is the Jubilee Year. So I hate to tell you, but there's a strong feeling and comms that I keep getting that our Jubilee Year might not be this year in 2021. It's probably 2022. And there's a reason for that. 107 said in one of his recent interviews, not the most, but a recent interview, that the Jewish people in the old days, when they had their 50th Jubilee, that was their big Jubilee, like the one for a lifetime that would cover if somebody made a mistake and lost their inheritance. For their younger people, it was gone because somebody was not acting properly and gambled it away or gave it away or sold it away, and then the younger people were out. So this Jubilee would help people like that. But that Jubilee wasn't the land lying fallow for 1 year, as in the 7-year Jubilee. The 50th Jubilee, the big one, was the land lying fallow for 2 years. In other words, depending on God for 2 years. Everybody should depend on God, I know that, but this is pretty much to make a point, I think. 2 years would be, for us anyway, wouldn't it be March when our virus came through? So March would be the 2nd year, although it seems like an eternity. But March 2022 would be the 2nd year. And Tom Numbers is always saying, follow the twos, which he got from Dirty Dancing, which was a big hum. So I always follow the twos, and twos are important in all these decodings. And twos would be 2022. So it could be. And think about that. If it was 3/22, it might even be the date 3/22. I don't know, of 2022. It could be. Yeah, that's the reverse of the Skull and Bones number. Skull and Bones is 223. You reverse it, 322. I mean, it could be. And I think we can live that long to wait till March 2022. Everybody's upset that it's taken so long for the reset, but we're going to be fine, and we'll help each other. Wherever anybody needs help, we'll help them. So everybody take a deep breath, as Juan says, and that's all decodable too on gematrix.org. So do that. Back to the notes. I'm still on 146. It was a really good number. Let's see. And some of these are about my last video. So President Trump doesn't talk on one level. He talks on so many levels. We probably can't keep track of how many topics he's talking about, who he's talking to, groups of people, specific people. He's talking to all of us. If we were listening, he's talking to all of us. So anyway, he's also referring, in my mind, to, like I said, the last video where I talked about the FFs done by white hats to make it look like the world's going to end. To bring people to their knees and really go, oh my God, I need you, God. That literally. So, this is what other things that match 146. Nuclear rocket. Month of December. Now, I have no idea. Will it be month of December? But I just thought I'd throw that in there because it was in there. May earthquake, or you can read it as earthquake May something, There's different ways of reading these things. Anyway, earthquakes in there. I think I've gotten several decodes, that said every U.S. earthquake erupting, specifically, just like that. Many times I've seen that. So anything that potentially could erupt would look like it's erupting. And the key word is look. Hoover Dam Bridge. So Hoover Dam looks like it's busting. Public broadcast. That would be the EAS. Or some people still call it the EBS. I sometimes slip and call it the EBS. It's the emergency alert system. And then Voice of Zeus. So one of these people is Zeus. I thought it was President Trump, but it could be Junior. It could be JFK. I haven't decided firmly for that. So that could be whoever that is, could be the voice that comes over the emergency alert. And if it was, let's pretend it was Junior. He called in before when his own plane was missing as somebody else. I think it was Lieutenant Todd Bergun, Bergun, calling from the Coast Guard off of Massachusetts about the JFK Jr. plane missing. He called into Channel 5, the local Boston channel, and it was him. It was definitely him. It's the same voice that did the other videos, all the 107 videos that, what was it, the series called? Did they have a series name? I don't know. Like Turn Off Your Television and, I can't think. You know what I mean. The first 3-4 videos that he made. Oh, it was under Joe Massapo's name, not Juan, sorry. And Joe Massapose stands for Me, Pose, as Joe. And in a play, just before he went down in a plane, some period before he went down in a plane with Carolyn and Lauren, he was in a play, and his character name was Joe, who had a cast on his leg. So it said the name that made these videos, Joe, me pose as Joe Messa pose, had a cast as Joe, and supposedly Junior had a cast, and Carolyn was so concerned that he shouldn't have been flying when they, all fake. It's part of the plot, and I love it. I just love it. Okay, I went through public broadcast. 146 is also a BOMB. I won't say it. Yes, on a jet plane. So that matches 146. Detroit, NUKED. Baltimore, NUKED. Hopefully nobody understood that as I said it kind of oddly. So it might not be those cities, and it's not going to be real anyway, because these are all done. All of these are done as FFs from white hats. I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a nuclear attack, World War III, who knows what it's going to be called, maybe attack from certain groups of people or many groups. Everybody's going to take shelter, just as they said in the VIR-US. Yes, take shelter. And then you start listening to emergency broadcast stuff. And it looks like, oh my gosh, this is happening and that is happening, and it feels like this and it looks like that. And I think it won't be real. I hope I'm right, Be not fun if it wasn't fake. So, buried villages. Okay. Gonna blow. These are all 146. Now I'm back at 103. Who is it? The other part that President Trump said in the last rally on 7/3. Let's see. So who is it? Matches Dark Knight, which is Batman. It could also be looked at as a Dark Knight. You spell it differently. It's a Dark Knight. Then we get what I mentioned previously. We had Ronald previously with 146. Now we have Nancy Reagan for 103. And he was an actor. So what if President Reagan is involved in acting as with this Hollywood mask and the Hollywood makeup? Wouldn't that be amazing? If it was Ronald Reagan, I would not be surprised. Then we have 146, Chaos Magician. That would be a chaos magician doing any of these things. The FFs, the Hollywood persona, it would be Hollywood. A magician of chaos, yeah, would be. So 146, this is really interesting, and it goes into the rest of what I'm talking about, the whole next part. 146, I saw Kirby Vacuum, okay? That's a famous vacuum company, kind of like Rainbow Vacuum, if you've ever heard of that one. They're very expensive vacuums. So Kirby Vacuum. And one of my favorite movies is Topper, Topper. And it's an old movie in black and white, probably the late 30s. And it's starring Cary Grant, one of my favorite actors. So he's pretty young in it. And all the Georges I saw previously when I was decoding the other part made me think, okay, George Kirby. That was the character that Cary Grant played in Topper, George Kirby. So it's not just George Magazine that we're seeing Georges for. It could be George Kirby. And at the end of this, I think you'll think it's George Kirby too. So I'll try not to make Paper noises. I'm so loud. Here we go. And here, do you remember POTUS, or President Trump, saying a couple of Easters ago, I should say, one of the Anons on the boards wanted him to say tippy top at some point. And a few days later, President Trump said it, and he was on the balcony at the White House with the Easter Bunny. I used to think it was Junior in the Easter Bunny. Now I don't know. I wonder, was it Junior in the Easter Bunny? We'll find out. So he said tippy top. And the Anons went crazy. All of us went crazy. Happy, happy. Anyway, well, Topper, tippy top, Topper, okay. I didn't decode every single word because this would take forever. I didn't do tippy top. Feel free to do it yourself. Topper is 90. That's the movie. Comes up with Angel Michael. Painting. Now, I've said this a long time ago when I used to be Mrs. Handy Are You on Twitter forever. I had this whole decode thing about the Angel Michael, and was Michael Flynn, General Flynn, was he Angel Michael? And if you think I'm crazy, go ahead and think I'm crazy, but look up paintings of Saint Michael, Angel Michael. Look up the paintings, look at the images when you look it up, and notice his face. What his face looks like by his eyes, his nose, his chin, his forehead. Look at all that. And then pull up a picture of General Michael Flynn and put it next to it. And you're going to think they're twins. So there's that. Now we have given name, which is interesting. Given name. I think I'll get back to that one. The height. So they want us to look at the height of these people, you know. And there's differences in heights, and height differences can be masked with shoes or the height of a podium. Say with Bobby. If it was Bobby, he's shorter. So he could have a shorter podium to make him not look as short, or who's interviewing him nearby could be a shorter person. So, I mean, there's ways of getting around these things. Hollywood's had it figured out for a long time. Now, I haven't gotten into Koceja, Koceja yet. That's a whole nother video. But there's to make it short for now, there's a character on Twitter, and he says he's Jesus. He's been around a long time. Maybe not even on Twitter, but he's been known of for a very long time. And what happens is, what I noticed, I should say, is 90 also equals Koceja, 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 twice. And it really stands for Raymond Edward Koceja. And you'll know that if you look at gematrix.org. It's always at the top, like the most searches. You'll notice it. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, and the height. I'm sorry. I should mention it right now. Cary Grant was 6'1". Bidan was 6 feet to 6.5 inches. So they're very similar already without any doctoring. Okay, so back to 90, which is Topper. I did Angel Michael, painting, given name, height, the height, Koceja, and then Holy Bible is 90. Real love. When I hear real love, besides, the age of Aquarius and all, I think of Michael McDonald's song, Michael. I got Michael. And he has a song that's still very popular called Real Love. I need to believe in real love. So it makes me think of Michael. The God gene. Hallelujah. These are all 90. The moon. In the movie Topper, their theme song that they sing in the beginning, Constance Bennett and Cary Grant both sing it together over and over and over again. It's called Old Man Moon. So Old Man Moon. And that will come up again too. So the moon is 90. Boomerang, 90. January is 90. I don't know if that's pertinent or not, but I threw that in there. Happening is 90. American flag. Reality, like this is reality, people. Deplorable. Now I think that our white hat people working in the media and Hollywood and TV shows, I think they're putting all kinds of comms out that will become a repeated, like deplorable. You know, that gets repeated over and over and over again. And I think they put out words like that so that they become a popular word and that we're all familiar with it. And then once you start decoding, you're like, oh my gosh, it all means this. So deplorable means hallelujah. You know, you can look at it that way. Red carpet. So Topper, 90, red carpet. And what happens at the red carpet? They get Oscars. They get their little statues, representative of all, but regardless, they get statues. Cary Grant would be nominated for little statues on the red carpet. Netflix movies. Then again, old and new. This is more personal. This next one that's 90, Augusta. Augusta's the Maine state capital, and I grew up in Maine. I'm in New Hampshire now, but I grew up in Maine. And it's also the first name of my first cousin, Augusta. So that was cool. Latinos. And how many times have we heard President Trump say, Latina unemployment down, when he makes his list of the unemployment rates and the growth of the economy? So he says that all the time. Somebody says Latinas, he's also saying Angel Michael. You can look at it that way. Or red carpet, you know. Let's see. End of the age. It seems like we are at the end of the age. And we are on to the new age. Next one that matches 90 is Enoch Elijah. Cemetery. Now, cemetery is important because so many are coming back from the dead. Not just Junior, but people that we really, really, really thought were dead, or who are so old, no one would think that they're not dead. Cemetery. So what they do in the plot of this movie is Cary Grant and Constance Bennett have a big car accident in an old, long car. I don't know what kind it is. And they go off the road, hit a tree, and they're laying there all crumpled up. And then before you know it, you see them walking over to a big log and sit down. And the plot is that they're not really dead. They're kind of fading in and out. What they seem to be is angels. And they're going back to help the main character of the movie, Topper, Cosmo Topper. And that's what they want to do. They want to do good deeds before they move on. And that's really the whole point of this. We're supposed to be doing good things for each other, not just saying, I believe in Jesus, that's all I have to do. So that's just my opinion. Anyway, so after Cemetery, we've got Bobby Ray, which goes back to my Ray Edward Kosijak character, Bobby Ray, it also pertains to Re or Ra God, God of the sun, R-A or R-A-H, God. So Bobby Ray could be leaning to Bobby Kennedy as well. Then again, the next one is Jack, like JFK, Jack Kirby, like my George Kirby in Topper the Star. It's so cool, isn't it? It just goes around and around. Then we have Ra, R-A, Zeus. So I thought President Trump was Zeus. I haven't got that part figured out, honestly. At one point, I think it's one person. One point, I think it's another. I think it still could be President Trump. But it's Ra, like sun god. That's what that means. Zeus. Z-E-U-S. On 90 again, Gerald Ford. So they're referring to Gerald Ford. It'd be hysterical if he was one of the people playing Biden. It would be absolutely hysterical. Because for you younger people, you wouldn't know, but when he was president, he came in after Nixon left, because he was the vice president and Nixon was impeached. Well, was he really impeached? Anyway, Nixon left because it was a scandal. So Nixon left, although I don't think he was all a bad guy. And Gerald Ford was president. And he was famous for falling on the steps of Air Force One. Famous. I mean, nobody ever let that go. He might have only fallen once. I don't know if it was once or not, but he might have only fallen once. And they never let it go. And here, the Biden fell not down the stairs, he fell up. Now, how hard is it to fall up the stairs, right? That was an act. So, which one did it though? Was it Junior? Could have been Junior. Was it Bobby? Was it, I don't know. Was it my Cary Grant? I'm voting for Cary Grant doing that part. So, anyway, I'll try to be quiet with my papers, sorry. Here's some info about Cary Grant, my lead horse. He was born on, let's see, what date was it? 1/18. 18 is R, right? 1904. He was 6 feet 1 inch tall, approximately 176 pounds. You know, probably different